I heard that you recently did a successful stint in rehab?
Yeah, one of two, yes.
One of two.
My second time, yeah.
Your second time.
Yeah.
When was your first time? That long ago.
A while.
Chaka Khan at 71 finally confirmed the rumors. What has she said about the stories that have been circulating for years? After all this time, what made her speak up now? Is it about her music career, personal life, or something else? How does this news impact her fans? Let's find out what Chaka Khan is revealing and why it's happening at this point in her life.
There were apartments that my parents got. They were both artists. They were both painters and musicians, singers. They would paint the Louvre on our dining room wall.
Let's get one thing straight, Chaka Khan said during an interview from Los Angeles. When asked about the difference between her fiery stage persona, Chaka Khan, and the woman born Yvette Marie Stevens, she had a surprising answer. At last count, there were about 60 of us, she joked. Every morning, I ask, okay, who's here today? She explained that over the years, she had lost touch with Yvette, the girl she was before the fame. Born on March 23, 1953 in Chicago, Illinois, Chaka grew up in a creative and free-spirited household. Her father, Charles Stevens, was a beatnik, and her mother, Sandra Coleman, could do anything she set her mind to. Chaka was the oldest of 5 children and grew up in the Hyde Park neighborhood, which she called an island in the middle of the madness of Chicago's South Side. Her parents divorced when she was 10, and both remarried later on.
There are 4 of us, actually. Okay, there are 3 girls, Tammy, me, and Zaheva, and then there's Mark. There's 4.
Music ran in the family. Her sister Yvonne became a singer known as Taka Boom.
My sister, Taka Boom,
Yeah.
she's done a lot of dance music. She's got lots of dance albums, lots of hits.
I remember when Taka Boom came through the
Understood
scene.
the Truth. She's with them. Smiling Faces, that's her. A lot of her hits though are mostly European hits.
And her brother Mark joined funk and soul groups like Jamaica Boys and Aura.
He's a bass player, arranger, singer, writer. He and I are like that.
Chaka also had 2 half-sisters, Zaheva Knowles and Tammy McCrary. Chaka's love for music started early. She said her grandmother introduced her to jazz, and she became a fan of rhythm and blues as a child. By age 11, she formed her first girl group, the Crystalettes, with her sister Taka. In the late 1960s, Chaka's world expanded. She joined her stepmother Connie at civil rights rallies, learning about activism and standing up for what she believed in. These experiences shaped her strong personality and her determination to succeed in life and music. Chaka Khan recently shared her life story in a special interview. She talked about her early days in music and how she became part of the famous band, Rufus. She said that Rufus was originally called the American Breed and started out playing their own music, mostly country tunes. Chaka was proud to be surrounded by such talented musicians. She also mentioned Paulette, one of her close friends, who helped her a lot in the music business, even teaching her how to put on eyelashes, something she dislikes now. Chaka remembered how she started singing in clubs. She would often take a short break from her own gig to run across the street and watch Paulette perform. They became great friends and learned a lot from each other. When Rufus asked Chaka to join them, she was excited. They started with country music and even did covers of Hall & Oates' songs. One of their first songs, Whoever's Still In You Is Killing Me, didn't become a hit, but Chaka took it all in stride. She knew it was just the beginning of her journey.
Whatever's thrilling you is killing me.
During the interview, Chaka also talked about how music is a universal language for her. She can sing anything, from opera to different languages, just like Aretha Franklin did. Chaka loves exploring new genres, and she can adapt to anything, except for Chinese folk music. But she jokes that if she ever hears a Chinese folk song she likes, she'd be happy to learn it. Chaka shared a funny story about how she got married at a very young age. She was only 17 years old when she lied to her mom to get married. She really wanted to sign her first record deal, but was too young to do it without a parent's permission. So she convinced her mom she was pregnant, and her mom took her to City Hall to get her married.
Painting on the wall say you got married at like 17 years old.
Yeah, that was to run away, to be free. Because I got my first album deal with ABC Dunhill, and I was too young to sign. I needed a co-signer.
This way, Chaka got her freedom and was able to sign her record deal.
So I lied to my mother, told her I was pregnant.
Chaka's career took off when she joined Rufus. They were already well known in Chicago, and having her in the band helped them get even bigger. Rufus later toured with the Rolling Stones, which was a huge opportunity for them. Chaka describes her voice as multifaceted and says she can sing any genre of music, and that's what makes her stand out in the music world. When Chaka Khan talks about her life, it's like opening a book full of music, memories, and struggles. She shared her experiences touring with her band, facing racism, dealing with fame, and even her special moments with Prince. Chaka remembered the early days with her band Rufus, traveling across America on tour buses. She laughed while talking about the good food at truck stops, but those stops weren't always fun. "We faced racism," she said, explaining how being black in certain parts of the US meant they weren't always welcome. To avoid trouble, they had white band members place orders at rough stops. Despite the challenges, Chaka said they made it through together. The band went through changes too. Chaka shared how it hurt her when the record label decided to rename the group to Rufus, featuring Chaka Khan. She didn't ask for that. The label wanted to put her in the spotlight, but it made the rest of the band feel left out. "It broke my heart," she said. "We were a band." The change caused tension, and eventually it led to the group breaking apart. Chaka also reflected on her personal struggles. Fame brought pressure and little time for herself. "I've never had a real vacation," she admitted. Even when she traveled to Jamaica for fun, it turned into work. She talked about feeling trapped on tours, unable to walk outside freely or relax without being noticed. One fun story she shared was about Prince. She remembered his unusual habits, like staying up all night and going bowling at 3 a.m. "I went with him once or twice, but after that I said, 'No thanks,'" she joked. She said Prince would have loved the quiet life during quarantine because he enjoyed being in his own world.
The voice of life, the one and only Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan has lived through many highs and lows in her life, and one of the most shocking parts of her story came when she opened up about a violent moment in her marriages. Chaka's life wasn't without its tragedies either. One of the most painful moments was the death of her mother, which hit her hard. She also talked about the difficult times she faced with her children, especially her son, Damian Holland, who was involved in a legal case in 2004. Damian was accused of murder, but was later acquitted. Even though the case was dropped, the stress of it weighed on Chaka and her family. Despite all this, Chaka said that her voice has always been her strength. She described it like a horn, powerful and bold. She explained that her marriage didn't last, but it wasn't the end of the world. In fact, she said the hardest part of her separation was not leaving her husband, but leaving her kids behind when she had to go on the road. She remembered how her daughter, Malini, would try to climb into her suitcase whenever it was time for Chaka to travel for work. Chaka wanted to give her daughter a normal life, but she admitted that it was tough to do that while being a famous musician. She tried her best to balance both, but it wasn't always possible. Despite the challenges of raising her daughter while being constantly in the public eye, Chaka never stopped working hard to make sure Malini had a good upbringing, even if it wasn't the same as other kids. Chaka Khan has been married 3 times in total. Her second marriage to Richard Holland was one of the hardest. Richard Holland was a songwriter, music producer, and real estate agent. He was also the father of Chaka's son, Damian Holland. But behind the scenes, their marriage was full of struggles, especially with fights and abuse. In 1976, when Chaka was 8 months pregnant with her son Damian, she and Richard got into a big argument. Things got out of hand, and Richard allegedly punched Chaka in the face. That's when things took a very dangerous turn. Chaka, feeling scared and hurt, grabbed a shotgun. She loaded it and fired it at Richard. Luckily, she missed, but the moment was shocking. Richard quickly ran into another room, slammed the door, and turned off the lights. At the time, Chaka was upset, but she still made a decision that would later haunt her. She called the police but lied, saying that an intruder had caused the trouble. It wasn't until later that Chaka admitted the truth. The guilt hit her hard, especially knowing her daughter Malini had seen everything. Chaka realized how wrong the whole situation was, and she felt terrible that her child had witnessed such violence. The violent fight was the end of Chaka's marriage to Richard. They had been through many tough moments, but this was the final straw. It was also the inspiration behind Chaka's hit song, Sweet Thing, which she wrote for Richard. But after the shooting incident, Chaka knew she couldn't stay in an unhealthy marriage anymore.
Oh, sweet thing.
Looking back at all her struggles, Chaka is proud of how strong she's become. She talks about how the tough moments shaped her and how overcoming hardship has helped her stay strong. She admits that life hasn't been easy, but it's made her resilient and ready to face whatever comes next.
I heard that you recently did a successful stint in rehab.
Yeah, one of two. Yes,
One of
my
two.
second time. Yeah.
Your second time. When was your first time? That long
Been a
ago.
while.
One of the biggest battles she faced was with drug and alcohol addiction. For years, she struggled with substances like cocaine, heroin, and alcohol, which deeply affected her career and personal life. Her story is not just about the struggles, but also about her strength to overcome them.
So, and when you were in there, I heard that you were in there with Lindsay Lohan as well.
Yeah, I was in with Lindsay.
Were you roommates or down the hall mate? Like, did you have contact with her?
Chaka's journey with addiction started early in her music career. She once shared how her father's own struggles with heroin influenced her life. At one point, she nearly died after mixing sleeping pills with C and struggled with AA until the early 2000s. After an injury, she became dependent on painkillers but has been committed to staying clean since the middle of 2013. Chaka refers to herself as an ex-addict, acknowledging that while D once enhanced her experiences, life changes have shifted her perspective. She said, "I call myself an ex-addict. For years I was having fun, and it all made fun more fun for me. But life changes."
I used to go to Rick James' house, and I used to go to Natalie Cole's house.
And that
Okay,
was
that's
that.
how I did it. I was very undercover.
Chaka Khan and her sister both also entered a D rehabilitation program to address their addictions to prescription D. Khan disclosed that the deaths of her close friends, like Whitney Houston and Prince, played a significant role in motivating her to seek help. She revealed that she was struggling with an addiction to the same medication that contributed to Prince's death, with an autopsy revealing that he died from an overdose of fentanyl, a potent opioid painkiller. Khan's acknowledgement of her addiction and her decision to seek treatment underscores the serious impact of substance abuse within the music industry and highlights the importance of seeking help to combat addiction. "Unfortunately, I will miss concert appearances over the summer," said Khan. "However, it's vital that I put my health and well-being first. I know that I am disappointing some of my fans, but I also know they would want me to recover and be well and healthy." Khan said the pair agreed we would take this journey together and support each other through the recovery. She continued, "The tragic death of Prince has had us both rethinking and reevaluating our lives and priorities. We knew it was time to take action to save our lives. My sister and I would like to thank everyone for their support, love, and prayers." But Chaka turned her struggles into something positive. She didn't let her past hold her back. Instead, she used it as a way to help others. Chaka started the Chaka Khan Foundation to support people facing addiction and other challenges. She also speaks up for those who need help, showing them they are not alone. Her work inspires others to believe in second chances. The loss of friends and fellow artists can have a huge impact on someone's life, especially when those friends were part of their creative journey. For Chaka Khan, the deaths of stars like Prince and Whitney Houston deeply affected her and made her think about the dangers of fame and addiction. Chaka Khan and Prince shared a close friendship for many years. They first met in the late 1970s, drawn together by their shared love for music. Over the years, they worked together on several projects, including the hit song I Feel For You, which became one of Chaka's biggest successes. Chaka Khan often spoke about how Prince was a musical genius, but also a very private person. She said that Prince was really good at hiding his struggles, and even though they spent a lot of time together, she never saw him use any drugs. She said Prince was a master of keeping his personal life hidden, even though he seemed so strong and in control.
The voice of life, the one and only Chaka Khan.
When Prince passed away, Chaka was shocked and devastated. She couldn't believe that someone who appeared so perfect and in control could have been hiding so much pain. The news of his death and the fact that he had been battling addiction in secret hit her hard. Chaka also had a very strong reaction to the way Whitney Houston's death was handled. In 2012, after Whitney passed away, Chaka Khan criticized music executive Clive Davis for hosting a party the night of Whitney's death. The party took place at the same hotel where Whitney had died, just a few floors above. Chaka didn't understand how Clive could go on with the party while someone he cared about was in so much trouble. She said, "I thought that was complete insanity." She believed that Whitney wouldn't have wanted a party to go on under those circumstances. She thought it was disrespectful to continue with the event while Whitney was fighting for her life.
What did you feel about that?
I thought that was complete insanity. And knowing Whitney, I don't believe that she would have said, the show must go on. She was the kind of woman that would say, stop everything. I'm not going to be there.
Chaka Khan had actually planned to attend Clive's party, but when she heard about Whitney's death, she couldn't bring herself to go. She was upset by how people allowed Whitney to spend a week in the city before her performance, especially since Whitney had struggled with addiction. Chaka shared that because of her own experience with addiction, she would always make sure to arrive in a city only a day before a show to avoid temptation. She said that if she had been in Whitney's position, she would have arranged things differently to stay safe and avoid falling back into old habits. Chaka Khan didn't hold back when she spoke about what she believed went wrong for Whitney. She said that those responsible for bringing Whitney to the party, including Clive Davis, should have done more to protect her. She felt that Whitney needed someone to be with her to make sure she wasn't surrounded by dangerous people who might tempt her. Chaka's comments led to a lot of people criticizing Clive Davis. Fans on social media were upset with him for continuing the party while Whitney's body was being taken away. Some people even suggested that Clive was more concerned with his business than with the well-being of his artists. Some fans even believed that Clive might have cared more about Whitney's success after her death than when she was alive. Along with personal struggles, Chaka also experienced financial problems at different points in her career. Like many artists, she found herself facing money issues that were caused by the way the music industry worked at the time. In the interview, Chaka spoke about how some artists, including herself, didn't always get paid fairly for their work. Sometimes the money didn't come in as expected, and living a lavish lifestyle added to the pressure. These financial strains made things even harder, especially when she was already dealing with personal struggles. But despite these setbacks, Chaka Khan has always kept going. She is known for her resilience, and in the interview, she talked about how she learned to push through tough times. One of the biggest challenges she faced was health issues. Chaka has had to deal with diabetes for many years, a condition that requires constant management. She's been very open about her health struggles and how they affected her life. But instead of letting diabetes hold her back, she worked hard to manage the condition and keep performing. Her determination to stay healthy and keep going shows just how strong she is. Also, in the late 1970s, something tragic happened that deeply affected her. Her manager was killed by her boyfriend at the time, who was later convicted of the crime. This added even more emotional pain to a difficult time in her life. Despite these struggles, Chaka Khan's career only grew stronger. In 2011, she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This was a huge moment for her, and her family and friend Stevie Wonder, who helped write her hit song Tell Me Something Good, were there to celebrate with her. Later that year, Chaka and her former band Rufus were nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This was an important moment because it marked their first nomination after 13 years of waiting. Chaka Khan didn't just stop there. In 2012, she re-recorded one of her songs called Super Life to honor Trayvon Martin, a young man whose death had sparked a lot of controversy and concern across the United States. Chaka's version of the song, now called Super Life, Fear Kills, Love Heals, featured other celebrities like Eric Benet, Kelly Price, and Terry Crews. It was a powerful message about love, healing, and standing up for what's right. In 2012, Chaka Khan also performed at a benefit for the Israeli Defense Forces Whitney And Prince. She replaced Stevie Wonder, who had originally been invited but chose to withdraw after a campaign by the U.S. campaign to end the Israeli occupation. Chaka's performance raised $14 million for the IDF. This was a surprising move for some, as Chaka had supported the Black Panther Party in the past, which had supported Palestine. In 2013, Chaka was honored again, this time in her hometown of Chicago.
I was maybe in my second year, and I was cutting a lot of classes. So I just took that time to become a Panther.
They renamed a street near her old high school to Chaka Khan Way and even declared the day Chaka Khan Day. It was a huge celebration of her long career, and she performed at a special event in Millennium Park. Chaka was also the Grand Marshal at the Bud Billiken Parade in Chicago that same year. In 2019, Chaka was honored at the Power of Women Luncheon by Variety magazine for her work supporting Little Kids Rock, a charity that helps children learn music. She also worked with Ariana Grande on a song called Nobody for the Charlie's Angels movie soundtrack. Later that year, Chaka competed on The Masked Singer, where she performed as Miss Monster. Unfortunately, she was eliminated early in the competition. Khan also faced some tough criticism in 2020. She sang the national anthem at the NBA All-Star Game, but many people didn't like her performance. They compared it to Fergie's controversial version from 2018. Despite the criticism, Chaka didn't let it bring her down. In 2022, Chaka Khan released a new song called Woman Like Me. It came out in July and was well received by her fans. Then in 2023, Chaka Khan was ranked number 29 on Rolling Stone's list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. She has won 10 Grammy Awards, including 2 with Rufus, and has been nominated for 22 Grammys. Chaka Khan's life has been full of ups and downs, but she has never stopped sharing her powerful voice with the world. She is a true legend, and her impact on music and culture will be remembered for years to come.